This isn't a prediction about some distant future. This is happening right now, today, while you're watching this video. In Davos, I said something that made a lot of people uncomfortable. I said, if AI does to white-collar work what globalization did to blue-collar work, we need to confront that directly, not with abstractions about the jobs of tomorrow, but with a credible plan for broad participation in the gains. Let me explain what I meant by that. Because most people didn't understand the weight of those words. Think back to the 1980s and 1990s. Globalization was supposed to be great for everyone. Free trade, open markets, companies could manufacture anywhere in the world. Economists promised that rising tides would lift all boats. What actually happened? American factories closed. Millions of blue-collar workers lost their jobs. Entire communities were devastated. Towns that built cars, made steel, manufactured furniture, they became ghost towns. The Rust Belt wasn't a natural phenomenon. It was a policy choice that prioritized efficiency over people. The jobs didn't come back. They went to China, to Mexico, to Vietnam. And the workers who lost them, many never recovered. They took lower-paying service jobs at Walmart, at fast food restaurants, at warehouses. They fell out of the middle class. They watched their children inherit fewer opportunities than they had. They watched their towns decay, their neighbors leave, their futures shrink. Meanwhile, the gains from globalization flowed to a narrow slice of society. Corporate profits soared, stock prices climbed, the wealthy got wealthier. CEOs who closed American factories and moved production overseas were rewarded with bonuses and stock options. The gap between the top and everyone else widened into a chasm. That's what I mean when I talk about what globalization did to blue-collar workers. It wasn't just job losses. It was the destruction of entire ways of life. It was the breaking of an implicit promise that hard work would be rewarded, that companies cared about their workers, that the system was fair. Now artificial intelligence is about to do the same thing to white-collar workers, the same pattern, the same promises, the same inevitable disappointment for millions of people who thought they were safe because they went to college, got degrees, worked in offices, instead of factories. Let me tell you something that most CEOs won't say publicly. I talk to hundreds of business leaders every year. I sit in boardrooms, I see the presentations, I know what they're planning, I know what they're not saying in their earnings calls. They're planning massive workforce reductions, not because they're evil, because AI makes it possible, because their competitors are doing it, because shareholders demand efficiency, because Wall Street rewards companies that cut costs, and labor is often the biggest cost. Andy Jassy at Amazon is slowing hiring and letting AI handle more work. Jim Farley at Ford is talking about reducing headcounts. IBM announced they would pause hiring for roles AI could do. These aren't isolated examples. This is the beginning of a wave. That CEO I mentioned, he's not an outlier. He's ahead of the curve. Most companies will follow within 18 months. 40% cuts. Not in manufacturing, in offices, in corporate headquarters, in the jobs that were supposed to be safe. The jobs that AI targets first aren't random. They're specific. They're the repetitive, data-intensive cognitive tasks that define most white-collar work. Microsoft researchers published a study ranking occupations by AI vulnerability. Do you know what jobs were at the top of that list? Translators, journalists, data scientists, financial advisors, accountants, legal researchers, marketing analysts, customer service representatives. Think about what that means. These aren't assembly line jobs. These are the jobs that required education, that paid well, that provided stability, that defined the middle class for the past 50 years. The jobs parents told their children to pursue: go to college, get a degree, work with your mind, not your hands. You'll be safe. That promise is breaking. Dario Amodei runs Anthropic, one of the most advanced AI companies in the world. He's not some outsider making predictions. He's building these systems. He knows what they can do. He knows what they will be able to do. He wrote something that should terrify every knowledge worker. AI could displace half of all entry-level white-collar jobs in the next 1 to 5 years, even as it accelerates economic growth and scientific progress. Half of entry-level white-collar jobs in 1 to 5 years. Let that sink in. This isn't about robots replacing factory workers. This is about AI replacing accountants, paralegals, analysts, writers, researchers, customer service representatives, marketing coordinators, data entry specialists, junior consultants, associate lawyers, entry-level programmers, copywriters, translators, bookkeepers, the first rung of the career ladder for millions of college graduates, gone. How do you build a career when there's no entry point? How do you gain experience when AI handles all the tasks that used to train new workers? How do you develop judgment when you're never given the chance to make decisions? And here's what makes this different from globalization. When factories moved overseas, it happened gradually over decades. Workers had time to see it coming. Communities had time to adjust, even if they didn't succeed. The process took 30 years. AI moves at the speed of software updates. A capability that doesn't exist today can be deployed to millions of users tomorrow. ChatGPT went from 0 to 100 million users in 2 months. The disruption won't take 30 years. It might take 3, it might take less. Lawrence Schmidt is an economist at MIT who studies AI's effects on the labor market. He's not a pessimist. He's not trying to scare anyone. He just looks at data. He told me that past technological disruptions, from the digital age to logistics and communications technologies that enabled globalization, have typically created both winners and losers in the workplace. He put it this way: technology devalues existing expertise while simultaneously creating many new opportunities. That sounds balanced. Winners and losers. Old skills become worthless. New skills become valuable. Some people fall, others rise. On average, things work out. But here's what that academic framing doesn't capture. The winners and losers aren't distributed randomly. They're distributed by class, by education, by geography, by age, by access to capital, by who your parents are and where you happen to be born. The winners of the AI revolution will be the people who already have advantages, who already have wealth, who already have connections, who already own the companies deploying AI, who have safety nets that let them take risks, who have networks that provide opportunities. The losers will be everyone else, the people working paycheck to paycheck, the people without savings, the people who can't afford to take 6 months off to learn new skills, the people in regions without tech jobs, the people over 50 who companies won't hire anyway. Look at the numbers. After the Cold War, more wealth was created than in any era of human history. Globalization worked by one measure. GDP grew, markets expanded, productivity increased, but that wealth accrued to a far narrower share of people than any healthy society can sustain. According to Federal Reserve data, the richest 1% of Americans now hold 31% of total household wealth. The bottom 50%, half the country, owns just 2.5%. That gap has widened continuously since 1989. In 1989, that bottom 50% owned about 4% of wealth. Now it's 2.5%. They didn't just fail to gain from 35 years of economic growth. They actually lost lost ground. While the economy more than doubled in size, AI is about to accelerate that trend. The gains are already flowing to the owners of models, owners of data, and owners of infrastructure. NVIDIA's market cap went from 300 billion to over 2 trillion. The Magnificent Seven tech stocks account for most of the market's gains. The open question is what happens to everyone else. Now, some people will tell you not to worry. They'll say AI will create more jobs than it destroys, that productivity gains will benefit everyone, that new industries will emerge that we can't even imagine yet. Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, said something that's been repeated constantly. You're not going to lose your job to an AI, but you're going to lose your job to someone who uses AI. I respect Jensen. He's brilliant. NVIDIA's chips power the AI revolution, but his statement, while technically true, misses the point. Yes, people who use AI effectively will outcompete those who don't, but that's exactly the problem, because using AI effectively isn't equally distributed. Who gets trained on the latest AI tools? Employees at well-funded companies in major cities? Who has time to experiment with new technologies? People who aren't working 3 jobs to pay rent? Who can afford to take risks, try new things, fail, and learn? People with savings, with safety nets, with connections. Who gets access to the best AI systems? Companies that can afford enterprise subscriptions. Who gets to shape how AI develops? The engineers and executives at a handful of tech companies. The promise that AI will help everyone requires everyone to have equal access to AI training, AI tools, AI opportunities. They don't, and they won't, unless something changes deliberately. Consider a concrete example. A junior lawyer at a major New York firm has access to cutting-edge AI legal research tools. Their firm pays hundreds of thousands of dollars for the best systems. They receive training. They have mentors who show them how to use AI effectively. A solo practitioner in a small town has access to free or cheap AI tools that are less capable. They have no training. They have no one to learn from. They're supposed to compete. The same pattern plays out in every industry. Big companies get better AI. Their employees become more productive. They capture market share. Small businesses and their workers fall behind. This isn't a natural law. It's a choice, and we're making the choice to let it happen. Professor Schmidt at MIT offered advice that I think is important. He said workers should find ways for AI to make them more productive and reallocate the rest of their time toward things that AI is not good at. That includes soft skills, communication, creativity, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, relationship building, complex problem solving that requires human judgment, the things that make us human. This is good advice. It's the right advice for individuals trying to survive in the new economy. If you're watching this video, you should follow it. Learn AI, use AI, make it work for you. But individual adaptation isn't enough. It can't be enough because the scale of disruption is too large and the speed is too fast for everyone to simply adapt. What happens to the 50-year-old accountant whose job gets automated? Is she supposed to reinvent herself as a creative strategist, retrain in her spare time while paying a mortgage and caring for aging parents? What happens to the recent graduate who can't get an entry-level job because AI handles all the entry-level work? How do they gain experience when there's no entry point? What happens to entire communities built around industries that AI makes obsolete? The towns full of call centers, the cities built on back office processing. Do they just relocate, start over, accept poverty? These aren't hypothetical questions. They're the questions we failed to answer with globalization. And the human cost of that failure shaped the politics of the past decade. Brexit, Trump, the rise of populism everywhere, the collapse of trust in institutions. People felt left behind because they were left behind. They were told globalization would benefit everyone, and it didn't. They were told to retrain, to adapt, to move. Many couldn't. Many tried and failed. If we handle AI the same way, the backlash will be even more severe because AI affects more people, because it moves faster, because this time the people being disrupted are the educated middle class, not just factory workers who elites could ignore. So what do? First, we need honesty. We need to stop pretending that AI is purely positive, that the benefits will automatically trickle down, that the market will sort it out. The market didn't sort out globalization. It concentrated gains at the top and distributed losses at the bottom. AI will do the same unless we deliberately choose a different path. Second, business leaders need to take responsibility, not just for shareholder returns, but for the workers they employ and the communities they affect. Professor Schmidt said something I agree with completely. He said employers should make guarantees to existing workers that their job is safe if they cooperate and help to think about how to use AI to make their businesses more efficient and productive. This is crucial. Workers won't help implement AI that destroys their jobs. They'll resist, they'll sabotage, they'll leave, and companies will lose the institutional knowledge and human judgment that makes AI useful in the first place. But if workers know their jobs are safe, that AI is a tool to enhance their work rather than replace them, they become partners in the transformation. They identify opportunities. They solve problems. They make AI implementation actually work. Third, we need to make more people owners, not just workers. This is something I've said repeatedly. Capitalism can evolve to turn more people into owners of growth instead of spectators watching it happen. If AI generates enormous wealth, that wealth shouldn't flow only to the people who already have capital. We need mechanisms to distribute ownership more broadly, employee stock ownership, profit sharing, sovereign wealth funds, universal basic assets. The details matter less than the principle. The gains from AI must be shared or the system loses legitimacy. Fourth, we need to invest in transitions, retraining programs that actually work, income support for people between jobs, education systems that prepare people for work AI can't do. This isn't charity, it's investment, because societies with massive unemployment, desperate populations, and no hope for the future don't stay stable. They don't stay democratic. They don't stay peaceful. The cost of managing the AI transition properly is far less than the cost of managing the chaos if we don't. Fifth, we need to think about AI governance seriously, not to stop progress, but to shape it, to ensure AI benefits humanity broadly, not just the few who control it. This is complicated. I don't have all the answers. Nobody does, but the questions are urgent and we're running out of time to address them. Let me give you some practical advice. If you're a worker worried about AI, here's what I recommend. First, learn the AI tools in your field. Don't wait for your employer to train you. Take the initiative. Experiment on your own time. Understand what AI can and cannot do in your specific work. Second, focus on what AI can't do well. Building relationships, understanding context, making judgment calls in ambiguous situations, communicating complex ideas to non-experts. These skills become more valuable as AI handles routine tasks. Third, document your expertise. The knowledge in your head, the judgment you've developed over years, that's valuable, but only if you can articulate it. Help your organization capture what you know. Fourth, be proactive about your role. Don't wait to be replaced. Propose ways AI can make your work better. Show leadership that you're part of the solution, not an obstacle to progress. Fifth, build a financial cushion if you can. Having 6 months of expenses saved gives you options. It lets you take risks. It lets you say no to bad situations. It lets you invest in yourself. Sixth, stay connected. Your network is your safety net. The people you know will help you find opportunities. Relationships matter more when the job market is volatile. And if you're a business leader, here's my advice. Don't see AI as just a cost-cutting tool. That's short-term thinking. The companies that will win with AI are those that use it to create new value, not just eliminate workers. Invest in your people, train them on AI, make them partners in the transformation. The institutional knowledge they carry is irreplaceable. Lose it, and your AI implementation will fail. Think about your community. Your workers live somewhere, they have families, they spend money locally. When you eliminate jobs, you eliminate demand. You eliminate the customers who buy your products. Race to the bottom is a losing strategy. And be honest, tell your workers what's coming. Treat them like adults. Give them time to prepare. The trust you build by being transparent will pay dividends. Let me be direct about something. I run the world's largest asset manager. BlackRock benefits when markets rise, when companies profit, when technology advances. I have every financial incentive to be optimistic about AI. But I'm not optimistic about the current trajectory because I've seen this movie before. I saw what globalization did. I saw the political consequences. I see the same patterns emerging with AI. The technology itself is neutral. It can concentrate wealth or distribute it. It can eliminate jobs or enhance them. It can empower people or subjugate them. The outcome depends on choices, policy choices, business choices, individual choices. Don't be a spectator in your own life. Don't wait for someone else to solve this. Don't assume the market or the government or your employer will take care of you. Learn AI. Use AI. Make it your ally before it becomes your replacement. Advocate for policies that share AI's benefits broadly. Support leaders who understand this challenge. Hold accountable those who don't, because the AI revolution is happening whether you're ready or not. The only question is whether you'll be among the winners or among those left behind. I've told you what I see coming. I've told you what I think we should do. Now the choice is yours. That Fortune 500 CEO I mentioned at the beginning. After he told me his plans, I asked him one question. What happens to those people? He paused. Then he said, that's not my problem to solve. That's the mentality we're up against. The people making decisions don't think the consequences are their responsibility. So it falls to you to protect yourself, to adapt, to demand better from leaders who'd rather not think about it. Don't be a spectator. Be an owner of your skills, of your future, of the fight for a fairer system. The future isn't written yet, but we're running out of time to write it.